Welcome to the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. I'm the big Beefy Boy, Shane O'Keeffe. This is Ciaran Dunphy.
Ciaran
Dunphy.
Ciaran.
And today we are going to be, I would say having a debate, but it's more like an argument. That's the most appropriate way to describe it. As you can tell, there's no Johnny Mortz, the big Mark. He was unavailable. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure he didn't want to be here for
what's about to go down.
Yeah, what inevitably is going to turn into a shit show. Because we're talking about quite a controversial topic amongst us two, at least. Kind of came up with All In, came to a boil.
I don't think it's controversial at all.
No. Basically, we're talking about Cody Rhodes. I am of the opinion that Cody Rhodes is the best natural babyface in the business and has been for a long, long time. And Ciaran is wrong.
I think
because explain your point, maybe.
Well, I think he's the best babyface. I don't think he's the best natural babyface. I think.
So you agree he's the best baby? Well, look, that's the end of the show. He's agreed that he's the best babyface.
Best book babyface.
Best book
with a caveat at the end.
All right, look, we're going to go through his AEW run, his current run.
No, I think we need to go back further, just to give a bit of a base, because where I'm curious about is where the paths diverge.
Okay,
and I think we're probably in alignment for the vast majority of his career in terms of whether we were supporting him, whether we thought he was doing good things, bad things. I think mostly it's aligned, and then there's a point.
I don't know about that, because I was indifferent for a long time about Cody. I guess what
I mean is, if I'm indifferent, I possibly was indifferent at the same time.
Okay. Well, my first interaction, say, with Cody Rhodes stems before he became an active member of the roster. In terms of the Rhodes legacy, because all the talk is about finishing the story, where does the Rhodes story start for you? And not necessarily Cody.
Where does the Rhodes story start for me? Yeah. Well, I suppose where I was first introduced to the Rhodes was Dustin as Goldust. I don't remember I remember Dusty had the Hasbro back in the day, but I wasn't in a sea of Dusty, or I don't remember too many Dusty matches as a kid. Goldust definitely was kind of when I was building into the peak of my wrestling career. Yeah, wrestling.
He is a wrestling trainee as well.
Two lessons. Wrestling interest. But Goldust, yeah. So probably Goldust. Then obviously there was you'd read up on the internet about who Goldust was. You'd find actually he's Dustin Rhodes. You're like, oh, he's Dusty's son. Cody, for me, didn't hear of him until Hardcore Holly brought him to the main roster.
Well, that's interesting, because Goldust was probably my first introduction to the Rhodes family. However, I was massively following WCW at the time as well, so I was aware of Dusty. I didn't actually know that Goldust and Dusty were related, or brother or father and son. So Dusty Rhodes first came into my consciousness, I think, as a member of the NWO. When he was there at WCW as a commentator, look at the Bathical, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when WWE started releasing like DVDs and different things, and ECW DVDs used to be sold in GameStop, so I've seen a lot of his feud with Steve Corino and seen some of his ECW stuff, and was able to make the connection then with Goldust.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Dusty. Oh, that's fucking amazing. That's awesome.
I mean, Goldust is such an interesting character that the very first thing you do is, once the internet is around, you start to find out a little bit more about him, because like, what is this guy? And then
or Sky, I think it was like 338, you go on and you'd see all the wrestling rumors. We actually have a Goldust video on the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. It's his saga with Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 12. Go check that out. But yeah, so those two kind of start crossing paths. Obviously, TNA then, when Dusty used to sit in the back of like a pickup truck with a load of hay and be the general manager and make matches from there. I was a massive TNA fan.
Yeah, but by then we've already gone back watching everything you can watch. Like, at that stage I'm familiar with. Yeah. So this I didn't know Cody until he was on the main roster. But by the time Cody was on, like, I knew the whole.
But the reason why I'm mentioning, say, I was a big TNA fan and I'm a big WCW fan, is that I was always searching for the alternative to WWF. And I think that's going to feed into our conversation about Cody, obviously. I was always searching for something different because I was unhappy with say wrestling in general. I loved when the Wrestling Channel came out here in Ireland and indeed in the UK, and you start seeing TNA and you start seeing CZW and you start seeing Ring of Honor, and you're like, holy shit, there's a whole other world outside of the two big promotions. And then you start going to local shows. I've seen Sheamus wrestle in the Ormond Hotel, which is 5 minutes from here, before he went on to do what he did. I've seen Sami Zayn in Kilkenny. I've seen these amazing Kid Cash, Tracy Smothers. They all came to Kilkenny, got to sit in the car with Doug Basham and Big Vito. And I think without the Wrestling Channel and access to the likes of TNA and stuff, I wouldn't be as big of a wrestling fan as I am now, because the alternative was WWE during the monopoly. You know, like, they had everything. So if I didn't have an outlet, I wouldn't be what I am, the person that I am now, sitting here in a funk and
the irony,
FMW t-shirt. Thank you to Cheese Nolan as well. He's still selling these things. They're fucking amazing.
I'll just cut you off there with I don't know why you're ranting on about the alternative, but the irony there is that there was a real big alternative about to appear, and the guy we're talking about today.
Well, that's what I brought up.
Yeah.
You said you don't know what I'm talking about. See, this is where you're going to lose the debate, because you're not picking up on the nuances of my argument.
Absolutely no nuance. You just talk away until something actually catches on.
No, you're not picking up on the nuances. I literally even said that the reason why I'm bringing up alternatives is because a big alternative comes up. So I'm always searching for something different. And through searching for something different, I've seen Goldust run as Black Rain in TNA. I've seen Dusty's run in TNA.
Yeah.
And then when Dusty came and there was Dusty DVDs released and different things like that, you start learning about the Rhodes legacy. You watch the greatest wrestling superstars of the 80s and you'll see Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes fighting, and you're just filling your mind with wrestling history and tradition and stories. And that's also going to feed into my argument today. So when Dusty got the Hall of Fame nod, they brought up Goldust and they brought up a young whippersnapper.
Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah. I remember that.
They brought up Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes spoke so eloquently about his dad for the first time on national television. I think he was 24, and I was like, this guy has it. This guy knows how to talk. And then you find out he's going to be in wrestling training, and then he's going to debut. And then he debuts when you're talking about, and he teams up with Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, I don't think we need to get too much into his early WWE run, but I think it's important to establish that my opinion of Cody now wasn't always this way.
Yeah.
I was a big supporter when he first came in. I really enjoyed what he was doing. He was, he was with Hardcore Holly. He was, a big stiff man, and he would pound Cody. There'd be backstage segments where he'd be slapping Cody in the face. Cody was taking it. Obviously led into the legacy stuff with Randy Orton and...
Who would have thought that Ted DiBiase Jr. would be criminal. The one that's a criminal and possibly going to prison, while Cody Rhodes is going to main event WrestleMania 40.
That's kind of sad.
It is.
Yeah, that's
like
actually very sad.
Everyone had Cody down as the Jannetty, and obviously maybe that's because historically how the Rhodes were perceived to be treated: polka dots, androgynous gold character.
I don't remember there being that big of a negative opinion on Cody.
Not negative, but he was definitely the Marty Jannetty of that, or perceived Marty Jannetty.
Well, he didn't have the body mass he has now. He definitely didn't look
skinniest shins I've ever seen any man have.
Yeah, and he definitely didn't look like... DiBiase was impressive looking at the time. Orton obviously was he about a half foot taller than the two of them. Yeah. So yeah, I could see why but he definitely came across as a guy with a lot of upside, I thought, and his character work, which we'll get into, was very good. Just to briefly talk about it, obviously...
You like Legacy.
I did. I like Legacy a lot.
You spoke about it in the Royal Rumble podcast, which is available anywhere you do your podcast.
And I enjoyed that Rumble. I enjoyed the fact that a stable dominated. I enjoyed that Orton took these two buccos along the way. I enjoyed the eventual triple threat at WrestleMania the following year.
26, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Could have been 27.
I thought the match itself was very poor considering...
What could have been.
Yeah, and what it had built to. I think was it kind of ended up being, even though it was a triple threat, it was mostly Cody and DiBiase teaming up on Orton, so it was kind of like a handicap match, and then ultimately Orton won, so it made the other two boys look quite weak in the end.
Which is a problem that WWE have done for years. But obviously Orton was still relatively new in his run. I know he's been there, say 6 years at this stage. I know, and when you consider how long The Rock and Mick Foley and Austin were there, that was probably only 6 years in total for all them, Kurt Angle and the legacy that they created. But WWE started having a problem of creating superstars.
Yeah.
And it would take a long time because of things like them jobbing out to the older guys all the time.
Yeah, Orton was the exception there. He was booked the way you would. I know ultimately it took a bit of time to get going, and Batista probably got the rub that he was going to get.
Orton, Cena and Batista probably were the ones that you could pick out. Lesnar, obviously, the mark that he left. But when you look at the other people that they started bringing in, that maybe they were going to be primed for success, and for whatever reasons, it took them just so long to get. Like Roman Reigns has been in WWE 11 years now or so.
Yeah, they just wouldn't take. 12. They wouldn't pull that trigger, take the chance that they did a little bit earlier. But yeah, so after Legacy. What was next? Was it
you had
Dashing? Yeah.
Dashing.
I enjoyed Dashing Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole cartoony aspect of putting bags on people's heads.
I did actually.
I thought that was stupid. I thought that was such a WWE thing to do.
I thought it made him stand out. You started to see a character develop. You could see that he is creative.
I'll always remember one time I was sitting with an ex-girlfriend of mine and we were watching SmackDown. And Cody was coming out and he was doing his whole dashing thing. And her father, for the first time I met him, and he walked in and he saw what I was looking at and he looked at me and just started shaking his head and laughing and walked out. As in, like, I cannot believe you watch this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but I was embarrassed even before, for some reason watching, I was like, this is really cringy.
And to be very honest, this is around the era of rest. My interest really wanes.
Yeah.
So for a good 4 or 5 years, it's on the real decline. So a lot of my memories of dashing and undashing Cody Rhodes are in hindsight looking at videos, so not really seeing the detail on a weekly basis, watching Monday Night Raw.
Undashing I thought was all right with the mask and stuff. Like it showed that he was willing, he was versatile in what he was doing. Once again, a bit silly coming out with the hood on and the mask is clear, so you can clearly see that everything is fine. But I know there's the American Psycho influence in it.
Yeah.
Obviously Christian Bale, a great movie.
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, there was this kind of cool element to it. But overall, I think it was not hugely memorable. It was something for someone to do at that time to kind of give him something to do. And I think WWE do that a lot. They give you something stupid to do. And if you can get it over, then you get rewarded for it.
Yeah. Well, he was IC champ around this time, was he?
Yeah, I think he had Big Show at WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, which he lost.
Intercontinental title. It was all Big Show.
He was champ going in though.
Yeah, Big Show having a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
For me, Aki Bono was Big Show's WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, and that match went like 5 minutes max.
Yeah, it was silly.
Yeah.
And then you just never felt like he was going to get into that upper periphery. He started then with Damien Sandow.
Yeah.
They had the Rhodes Scholar. He had a mustache. He was trying to get a mustache over. And
he kind of did, I thought.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So right now he's struggling. He's in mid card. He's struggling to break through to the next level.
Yeah, and he's not someone that you're going to watch and be like, yeah, I can get behind this guy. The next time that I really got behind him is when he had that angle with Dusty and Goldust when he brought the family into it. They got fired. They had to, win a match to get back their right to have a contract. Dusty did that thing, I think, with Stephanie with the Authority where he didn't go down well, got in trouble for that. And they had some really good tag matches. I think they bet the New Age Outlaws for the title, maybe it was, but they had some really good tag matches. And that's when I was like, this guy is going to be big.
Yeah. And to be fair, if they'd pulled the trigger on him then and pushed him in and gave him a couple of title shots, you'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, I can buy into this. Yeah. You're 6 years in at this stage, maybe 5 years,
maybe more. When was this? 2014, maybe 15.
This is pre-Stardust. So Stardust
maybe 2013. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought they had some really good tag matches.
Yeah.
And then
Stardust.
Fucking whatever the.
Yeah, so I think we're still aligned here. Like Stardust comes along, and from an audience perspective, you're looking, going, "Oh wow, they're just basically giving them Goldust," but it's not going to be Goldust because the reason Goldust works is there was like 4 or 5 years of character work with Marlena and all the wrestlers he worked with. He was one of the most iconic 1990s Intercontinental reign before he became the more comedy Goldust in the early 2000s.
Well, before he became the artist formerly known as Goldust.
Well, all that happened
coming out in baby diapers.
But all that happened in between with Cody. Then he's just thrown in, and it's pure gimmick. Like there's no
build up to it.
It doesn't make sense.
I knew
why is he Stardust?
I knew it was coming. I was somewhat excited for it. I was like, all right, cool. And then you see the presentation of it, and he gave it his all, to be fair to him. But like, it sucked ass.
It didn't have a darkness about it that Goldust had. There was like an underlying unnerving theme, and Goldust was so new, like that. It was like nothing had been seen in wrestling. Well, nothing on the mainstream level had been seen in wrestling. So Stardust just seemed kids friendly, watered down, silly. It seemed really, really silly. But yeah, I mean, I said it. Someone put up a clip of Stardust.
I did, yeah. Well, I sent it to you
in the WhatsApp group, and my response was, "This highlights that Cody is a very talented actor who really attempted to get it over and did everything he could."
I hated all that stuff, but like he gave it his all, and that's all you can ask for. And then when it was coming to the end of his run, I was really excited for whether it was Stardust and Goldust against each other or Cody versus Goldust. But I was really excited for that match. I thought, here's a WrestleMania build. Yeah. Normally when you have brother v brother, Bret and Owen, that was good. The Hardy Boys at WrestleMania 25 sucked ass.
Yeah.
I think a lot of their feuds sucked ass. But I was really looking forward to Cody versus Goldust.
And there was a groundswell of fan interest that really wanted to happen. Because they were both quite popular people. Everyone knows the Rhodes story has not been explored big enough. Despite
the silliness that surrounded the build-up, I was excited, and then they just fucked the match at Fastlane, and it was so I couldn't believe how I was genuinely annoyed after it. I was like, they had something on a plate, and they just absolutely smashed that plate to the floor, and didn't give us anything. Yeah. And then at WrestleMania, there was nothing either.
Yeah, and then it's obviously in hindsight when you know what they went on to do with AEW, what they were capable of putting on, and why not have done it in WWE.
Yeah. So that ultimately leads to Cody's resignation. He tried another gimmick. I don't know if you've ever seen these photos, but it was like Rhodes Industries, where he tried to play like a Tony Stark type character. I think maybe he was trying to bring Brandy in at this stage as well. WWE never okayed it, and then he asked for his release, and he was ultimately granted it.
And he gave the list. He published his list of
which is really cool.
Bucket list wrestlers he wanted to fight.
A lot of people have done that since. No one did it before him, and made an like from the indies perspective, it made it exciting to go, there's these list of wrestlers that Cody Rhodes wants to fight, and he's going to tick off his bucket list. So every time you see that match is going to happen at a indie event, you feel like you're going to be part of something. Yeah. Which was a really cool idea. Yeah. He went to What Culture Pro Wrestling when they had a wrestling fucking promotion. He was at TNA for a while. Yeah. I didn't catch much of it. I kind of checked out at TNA because I had NXT at that time.
So Cody quits, but let's not kid ourselves that him going to the indies was a major drop off, because indies at the time was so hot. Like this is in and around NXT beginning to get to its peak levels. There's no AEW. Like we'd go to OTT events and you'd see like we were talking about it yesterday. You see Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, see all these people are all.
But that was a few years. That was a few years later. You're looking at 2015. This because they did the first. 17. They did the Dusty Rhodes Classic in NXT where he came out and he did the presentation, him and Goldust, and I think that was their last, or it was definitely Cody's last appearance on WWE TV when they were giving that out. Goldust went on with R-Truth.
Yeah, but when he's quitting, he's joining a Ring of Honor that has the Bullet Club in it. Like it has like the crossover. New Japan is probably as hot as it's going to be for a long time with the American UK audiences, because there's so many kind of foreign stars who are crossing over between the two promotions.
Gasians.
Yeah, and a lot of it is cool. And you got BTE going on, which has this, I know you don't like it, but it has this big audience as well, and it's telling stories that aren't being told on telly.
So basically what you're saying is that the independent promotions and New Japan and Ring of Honor are being propped up by the Bullet Club.
Oh, well, probably. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
Bullet Club started by Finn Balor, AJ Styles, the natural successor, Kenny Omega then the natural successor. That's when the kind of viral BTE stuff come in. The Young Bucks, you have Adam Cole in Ring of Honor. Yeah. You have Bullet Club going well, and then they unveil a new member, and that's Cody Rhodes.
Yep. Yeah. I thought his Ring of Honor run was good. I'm not going to.
But the actual,
I'm not going to pretend I watched
actually
Ring of Honor
Cody being in the Bullet Club, I remember seeing that promo where he's sitting in his chair and he's smoking a cigar, and I was like, "What?" He didn't. He
joined in with the New Japan promo.
Yeah.
I felt
he didn't seem like a Bullet Club member.
But see, it didn't really. The problem I found was that he was also promoting himself in other promotions in slightly a different way. So
Right.
it didn't come across consistent with the character that he had been portraying in, basically on the indie scenes, trying to do the bucket list and getting the kind of big face groundswell support. So yeah, I agree. It was kind of it was shot really well. Like it looked good, but it just didn't seem...
he was sitting in a chair, he had like a cigar, and it was unveiled that he was going to be the next member of the Bullet Club. And I was like, this is going to be interesting, but like I couldn't see it at the time. But obviously, you have preconceived notions of who Cody Rhodes is, of what Cody Rhodes is, and he goes on, and I think he becomes a really valuable member of it. Like Ring of Honor, he brought in cool things like with the ring. Kiss the ring kind of thing. And I was like, that's a really cool. I always thought it'd be class if a wrestler, instead of having like a championship title, came out and had like the championship made into like a crown. For some reason, I always thought and they'd wear it on their head. So imagine like King Nakamura when he won it, and he won an Intercontinental title, and he just wore a crown with the Intercontinental title. I was like, that's cool. It's a new, different way, and that's why I really like the ring.
Yeah. Look, I again, Indie Cody, I enjoyed. New Japan Cody, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I disliked him because of this.
My New Japan stuff kind of started waning as well around this time. I know New Japan World made it a lot more viable, but I was only kind of checking in for big events.
Yeah, well, like
because I was full on the NXT board then.
Same,
and there was only so much wrestling that I could watch.
Exactly my point. Yeah, you can't watch it all. So no, I look. I'm not going to argue with most of his indie run. I was happy enough. I enjoyed the Nick Aldis stuff. I thought it was a cool idea.
10 pounds ago.
Yeah, him chasing that title. Feud went on for about a year. If I can't remember.
And it all culminates at probably one of the most momentous days in wrestling history. Dave Meltzer put out a tweet saying that no other promotion could sell out a 10,000 seater arena, and it was Cody Rhodes that took up that fucking challenge and said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And it was all in. Was that the first one?
Yeah, I mean, it's an indie event, but like really it was a cross-promotional event.
With who? New Japan
and Ring
of Honor.
Yeah,
but still, like,
I know, but I just it was an indie event, is what they spoke about. I would say
that's what it was, though.
Yeah,
well, like Ring of Honor is an independent.
It's kind of indie,
and New Japan is almost independent in America. It's like it's treated like an indie in America. It might be massive in Japan, but they're coming over to America promoting this off the back of an NWA World Title match as well.
Yeah,
that Cody has put the time and effort in to build with Nick Aldis. So they build this. Cody wants the NWA World Title because of tradition, because of the legacy of it. He made the belt the most relevant it's ever been since fucking Shane Douglas threw it in a bin, even before then. And maybe TNA, they kind of brought a bit of relevance to it. I apologise before they went into the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, but had this really fucking cool idea to put on an event, give a viable alternative to,
and it got that whole promotion back, and that was the start of it.
NWA.
It led to the belt having relevancy again, and
before losing relevancy again, Tyrus
recently. But like there was a good 2.5-3 years there where. I mean, I checked in from time to time to watch their studio shows. I thought, it was an interesting concept. So, Billy Corgan. I'm going to see Billy Corgan in a couple of months. Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, never a fan.
Anyway, we digress. I feel we're still on the same page mostly here, but it's actually that event that you brought up, All In, that the very first seeds of doubt started to creep in a little bit with me and Cody. And because am I right in saying that this is the first time when he starts to bring out the big entourage?
I think he had DDP with him and stuff.
And I was like, okay, it's kind of cool.
I got the big fight feel off it, like they would in a boxing match and stuff.
But I kind of felt I started to see Cody as a kind of moneyed he's off the big promotion. Nick Aldis is like, this guy's been grinding it. You know, I know Nick Aldis had a really long TNA run.
Nick Aldis had an NWA World Title match with Fight Factory Pro Wrestling trainer Phil Boyd up in the north of Ireland.
Big fan of Phil Boyd.
Big fan of Phil the Thrill Boyd.
But yeah, so I kind of started to think, Cody he's leaning in a little bit too much to his silver spoon side of his life.
I think he was creating an aura.
Well, he was trying to create an aura, but I thought it was coming off a little bit...
Like a big
little bit...
UFC was hot at that point again. Obviously, McGregor...
A little bit ignorant, I thought.
McGregor, not reinvigorating, but like making it this massive thing once again. And so big ring walkouts were happening. You look at the boxing industry, big ring walks.
Yeah, but
so
a heel...
It was a big fight feel.
Well, yeah, but I think a heel it'd be better for a heel to do that. If you're going to introduce that concept to wrestling, which I think is a cool concept.
No, but I think if he was a heel trying to promote that event, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that this was when I turned...
This is when the seeds of doubt.
There was a small seed.
This is when we start diverging.
And it's planted there. And it's probably only in hindsight that I would look back on that moment thinking, yeah, because that becomes a big issue for me when he's in AEW and doing the same thing.
Right, so you mentioned it. AEW, they have that Wrestle Kingdom. It's been talked about that there's going to be a new promotion, and a new promotion gets announced. AEW, Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, along with Chris Jericho, Pac. A few wrestlers are announced for it. Cody Rhodes is almost like the business-like face of it.
He's like the spokesman because he speaks eloquently.
In the suit.
Yeah, and he's still a part of...
Is that why you wore a suit today? You're a big Cody Rhodes
Well,
man.
I just wondered, would you pass comment on it? And if you did, then I'd say, well, Cody wears a suit just to get you back.
No, I can understand why you're... Because it shows a level of professionalism.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's my ring jacket.
Yeah.
Hoping to be a commentator or manager.
Book him for your wrestling shows. He's had 2 wrestling trainings.
So yeah,
we're a package deal.
So the Elite, Cody's part of the Elite. Just to bring people up, Cody's part of the Elite. The Elite at this point is Kenny, the workhorse, all-star professional wrestler, Young Bucks, the tag team, Hangman Page, the up-and-coming rising star, and then Cody, who's kind of in this weird position of kind of spokesman, maybe kind of creative type,
the face of it
a little bit. And certainly from an AEW standpoint, they pushed him as the face of it. And ultimately, not Hangman, but the other 4 become executive vice presidents of AEW, the company that they founded. And that's going to be a problem for Cody, I think. It's very difficult. It's a problem for anybody, not just for Cody, but to book yourself in any shape or form when the fans know that you are the booker or potentially have influence on the book. I know he's not the booker, but have influence on the book.
Yeah, but I think he managed that really well.
He did early on.
Yeah, right. So we'll get into it. The first event, we finally get that match with Goldust and Cody Rhodes. I think it's the best match of the night. I think it was just fucking... I remember I was down in Cork. We were down at the Skull Film Festival, and I ended up... Everyone was hungover the next day, but I was like, no, I need to watch this. So I watched it the next day, and I was absolutely blown away by seeing a wrestling match. Seeing, like...
The physicality.
So much story. The blood. It was just so, like...
The blood. There's dripping. We hadn't seen that in wrestling for
a long time. There's only so many matches, I think, in my lifetime that have made me go, oh my. Obviously, HBK and Undertaker. WrestleMania 25 in particular. Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome at One Night Stand. Just seeing that type of wrestling again on a big stage was just amazing. That match, Andrade and Johnny Gargano at NXT, I just was blown away by that match. And Sasha and Bailey at TakeOver as well.
Yeah, they introduced something that you don't think is capable. Either you just feel it's not possible anymore, or that you've never seen it before.
You're so desensitized to a lot of things in wrestling that when you get treated to something that is so physical and has such a good narrative built into it and story and... I was just blown away by it.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was...
Like, who does Kenny fight that Moxley comes out? Is it Jericho?
Yeah.
It's Jericho at that in the main event. Moxley comes out. There's a lot of cool matches at it.
Yeah.
And it was like...
No, that was a great event.
I was like, something on the scale of WWE is...
An alternative.
It's going to be here. I'm all for that. And then it was like, and I have NXT as well. And NXT are doing class things. And I was fully on board. It was that match that made me go, all right, this guy gets it. He's after... No, I wouldn't say dragging a match out of Goldust, but he's made Goldust relevant once again for the first time in years. A character that was so beloved and loved that had been treated like absolute dirt from the awesome or the golden truth with R-Truth, where I think that feud took place on like Superstars. Then he was with his brother, and the Goldust Stardust thing kind of treated like a joke. In TNA, he was Black Rain. That was absolutely terrible. He was a tag team with a guy called Relic, which is killer backwards. Oh, and then when he was in, he had the Tourette's and with all that. I liked his run with Booker T, but it's been so long that
seriously,
like over. You're looking at nearly 20 years before Goldust was treated like a serious threat, maybe even over that.
Like a veteran, not just like, you know, a lot of guys become capable veterans that are, you know, either enhancement or you have a chance of winning something, but this guy don't get it. But they finally have given him that kind of veteran, rugged, raw element of, and he's just he's grit. He had grit.
Yeah,
that he didn't have
wanted to show that he could still hang, and he certainly could. And Cody helped get that out of him. It was one of the best matches. I think he got 5 stars.
Yeah, it did.
I think it's still the best match in AEW history.
It's up there, yeah, definitely.
And then they went on. They actually tagged. He was like, at the end when he's crying, he was like, you know, I want my brother. And then they hugged, and I was like, this is story, man. This is storytelling.
Yeah. What's the story? Cody's promo who said, I don't want to kill my brother. I want to kill the Attitude Era or something like that. Like some kind of.
Did he say no?
Something in that.
I don't want to fight my brother. I want to fight with my brother. He said something cool, and I was like, oh, this is lovely.
Okay, so we're again. So that's an amazing match, but I know there's a lot to talk about here. So Cody then moves on.
He becomes the best babyface in the business, I think.
He becomes a baby. I think he goes on to fight Jericho, and we get introduced to his best buddy Max, and he goes on to fight Jericho for the title. And I'm skipping a good bit here.
So he loses to Jericho, which
but he loses to Jericho because of Max.
Throws in the towel, is it? Or?
Yeah, he throws in the towel, and then later he'd kick him in the balls.
But the whole thing about this is that if Cody loses this match, he can't ever wrestle for the AEW title. Yeah. So he throws that title, he throws that caveat in, and you're like, oh well, he's going to win then, and then he doesn't. And that kind of takes away your preconceived notions about, he's going to book himself to the top, because I think he has said that was something that he was conscious of, that because he had booking power, that people were going to think that he's going to be the top guy. And like, I love that match. And
I think this is confusing booking. Like, why introduce that stipulation in the first place?
But I just said it.
That still doesn't really make sense, though.
He wants to take away these preconceived notions.
Still, you can book yourself back into, like, you can come up with a creative way of booking yourself back in.
I'm sure there will be a creative way. There could have been a creative way to bring him back in, but to have that caveat, it made me assume when I was watching, I was like, Jericho's losing the title.
But you know what it made me feel? It made me feel, Cody is, because he always has this kind of self-righteous, humble, I'm Cody, I'm just a nice guy, just trying to make it.
He's probably the nicest.
But like, again, I felt he was introducing that to help him get further over as a babyface.
Yeah, well, because he's a babyface, so he needs to introduce things to help him.
But what's going to happen here is he's going to keep clawing at that when the fans clearly...
Yeah, you're going too far ahead.
Him anymore.
You're going too far.
No, but it's important. I need to stick that notch in.
Fans were behind him, right, at this stage. I love that match with Jericho.
Yeah, they are behind him. I agree with that.
Because it's the most standout Cody, I think, moment. Because every time he's in a match, he has this ruggedness about him. Not everything is so smooth that it looks like he's in a fight every time he wrestles. And there's a point in the match, he still has the scar. And you slag me off for saying this as a point, but he does a dive and he lands on his face and he gets split open. And I was like,
yeah, that's around now. Is that match?
Yeah, that's that match. Yeah. And I was like, this is like the antithesis to the crisp, clean, Young Bucks style theatrics that you see, that we have become accustomed to within wrestling, about lads being able to do perfect flips over. This is just Cody flinging himself out and landing on
purpose.
Yeah, but there's a recklessness to it that I appreciate.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like, not everything is slick. It's like, fuck, I'm in a match.
Well, it looks dangerous.
I've been in a match for an AEW world title. I'm tired. I'm going to try this big fucking move.
Yeah.
I landed on my face.
Yeah,
And you're
I agree. Wrestling should be perceived as dangerous, and the more you do flips and stuff successfully, the fans get numbed to the fact that that's actually really dangerous. What you're
That's
doing.
really hard to do.
Really hard to do.
We've
yeah.
seen people land on their heads in
the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Which is really fucking
Scary.
Yeah. But like, I as the match goes, like Kenny Omega did this amazing thing.
Okay, I don't know why you're bringing this up because
it adds to that baby face kind of like you're fighting spirit and power. You know what I mean? Because he's not able to do things effortlessly, but he's willing to try them. So you want to back him, and you want it, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And Kenny Omega has one of the best sells I think ever in history. When Okada is going for the Rainmaker, right, and he pulls him out, and he's going for the clothesline, and Kenny just drops to his knees because he's exhausted. Mm-hmm. He doesn't get hit, but he, like, without taking a bump, really. Obviously, he took loads of bumps in that match to build to that point. But that was such a good fucking sell because it looks so fucking real.
Yeah, but this was real. The Cody thing.
Yeah, I know, but like, if that was any other wrestler, and I'm not advocating wrestlers get injured, a la fucking, was it Dante Martin when he did the fucking Canadian destroyer off a ladder through a tail and broke his. I'm not advocating any of that, but what I'm saying is he has this ruggedness about him in a match that feeds into the story of his matches, that makes him more sympathetic.
Yeah, as the hero.
And yeah, but that's what he's meant to be. He's a baby face.
Yeah, I don't see this as a point to argue because like it's just a guy who attempted something, busted his face open, and it probably assisted him to get a little bit over again because someone got injured. Therefore, the fans support them.
No, but it adds to his matches that not everything is so crisp and clean all the time. And we'll get into it with his feud with Brock as well. Because
you could call another wrestler sloppy for being the same.
You could
trying stuff that he's not capable of doing.
No, that's a fair point. But
dangerous worker, Cody Rhodes.
You son of a bitch. Dangerous worker.
Well, just see if it was someone else, you'd probably call him a dangerous worker.
I'm just saying, it looks like he is in a fight every time he's in a match, and as opposed to fucking doing a cartwheel or doing some fucking stupid bullshit.
I won't argue with that. But the reason I brought up the Jericho.
I can't believe you call him a dangerous worker.
No, I just trying to say, I'm playing counter.
Do you believe it? Do you believe he's a dangerous worker?
No, I'd say he's very.
Well, then why fucking say it?
Because you're hyping up the fact that he jumped out and skidded his face off the ramp outside as a good part of it.
It made it look rugged. I was looking at his matches going like, these matches are fucking badass.
Yeah, was around now. Did he get hit by Sean Spears across the head at this stage?
The chairman.
Yeah,
that was Sean Spears' fault.
No, I know it was Sean Spears' fault, but
I don't know. I think that was that not.
But it's another reason that got.
Was that not after MJF? And then you had the Pinnacle.
You had the Pinnacle. Yeah. Okay. Well, just to step back then. So he has the gimmick here. So I'm not saying that he wasn't over when he decided not to run as to go for a world title shot ever again. But it's another little notch that is just adding to all the little things that
I don't get how that's a notch.
Because ultimately it's just another reason for him to try stay face and stay relevant. Look, let's move on. So, because the reason
he's taking himself out of the world title picture. How is that staying relevant?
For what? He took himself out of the world title picture so he could create a new title called the TNT title and be the face of the network.
That was going to be created anyway.
Yeah, so he knew this was being created.
So he left space at the upper card for other guys.
They introduced the TNT title and they said this is going to be as relevant as the world title.
And it was fucking badass, was it not?
So what? He took what a hit. Cody took a hit. He's never been world champion again. What'll he do? He'll create a new world title.
He got Darby Allin over in the TNT thing.
Yeah, but you're not answering.
He lost to Darby.
Yeah, we're getting into this then. Okay, so Darby Allin,
Eddie Kingston got him over. Brought in.
Sorry, he didn't lose to. He lost to Darby eventually.
Was MJF first?
MJF first.
Yeah, all right. We'll go into the MJF stuff, right?
Okay.
He got MJF over in AEW.
Cody Rhodes picks bad friends. He's not capable of seeing true people. Everyone could see MJF was a dick except Cody. Dumb Cody.
Yeah, but his feud, taking the fucking straps on the back, having the cage match with Wardlow, and he does his moonsault off the fucking thing. He got MJF over.
Yeah, but he got him. Yeah, absolutely.
He gave him the avenue.
But there's well, are you telling me MJF wouldn't have got over without Cody Rhodes?
Not as soon as he did.
I'd say that's arguable. I'd say MJF was already.
Think of MJF's feud since then, right?
Everyone, MJF. Go on.
Cody Rhodes,
yeah.
Right? Great feud. Pinnacle with Inner Circle, that went on way too long. With Chris Jericho and all that. That sucked, in my opinion. CM Punk was awesome. And then MJF's, I think, whole world title run.
Yeah, it was
sucked.
Not great. Yeah, it was around the time though of Cody having left and fucking over the company.
Fucking over the company. We're going to get into that.
Betrayal.
It wasn't betrayal.
Absolutely betrayal.
We'll get into that in a few moments.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I think, maybe with the exception of CM Punk, MJF had his best feud with.
So Cody takes all these. So just on the MJF thing, Cody takes all these whips. He's taking all this heat coming
just to get a match with MJF,
just to lose to MJF and then no follow up.
He made him.
Made the heel won that.
He made MJF.
So what's Cody doing? He's gatekeeper now.
Yeah, but that's why he left. We're going to get into that.
That's why he claims he left. And he's not really gatekeeper because, like, you talk about the Malachi Black thing, which comes down the line. I know that's down the line here. But he talks about the Malachi Black thing. But Cody still won that feud. Cody won the follow-up match. And then they never fought again. So it's not that he's like, and if you look at Cody's win-loss record in AEW, he is way up on wins.
As he should be, as he's a legitimate star.
But so that makes it when everyone over.
But when he loses, it makes a bigger deal out of his
Cody
losses.
Yeah. Oh, poor Cody.
You can't. That means you're losing an argument. Oh,
I'm not.
Poor Cody.
Everything Cody does, it's like,
because he's a baby face.
Yeah, but it's so obvious. He telegraphs the fact that he's getting someone over. So it's about Cody in many ways. It's about how good he is about getting people over.
Get someone over, and you're like,
if you get someone over and then you disappear into the shadows, like, yeah, he did a great job. He's gone out of it.
Is a wrestling match? You should know this from your two wrestling training sessions. Yeah. Is a wrestling match's job not to get both people over?
It is, yes.
Yeah. So he gets the other person over while also getting himself over.
Yeah, but the story
making himself a sympathetic baby.
But the story, it's weird. It's a weird thing. The story becomes it being about Cody getting people over. So yes, he gets someone over, but then that's lost, and the person doesn't go on to do too much. It's about MJF Cody. Did. It's about Cody being this.
MJF did
being bigger than AEW because he's there to get people in AEW, the little man, over.
He got MJF over. He got Eddie Kingston.
I think MJF was getting over anyway.
He got Eddie Kingston over.
Eddie was introduced via a match of Cody. I don't know whether Eddie got over by Cody. He beat Eddie.
Yes, but he gave. This is going back to a wrestling match, getting both people over. He gave Eddie the opportunity.
This is Cody's TNT invitational thing.
Yeah,
where he would basically take the hottest indie person and utilize.
He did it with Darby as well.
Yeah, Darby's pretty hot.
Yeah, so he got Darby over as well.
He beat Darby.
He still got him over. Darby, I would say,
Darby eventually won the TNT title.
When we're talking about people doing reckless shit, like, Darby is up there as well.
I'm not saying that Darby's over. That makes him a good. Darby was definitely not over with me at the start, so I would agree with that. Yeah.
He brought in guys that didn't work out due to, like, I'm not saying it's all to do with Cody. So it's to do with the talent of the other guys and what Cody was able to do with them.
Okay, but we're not even at the peak of why I don't like Cody.
They brought in Warhorse. Warhorse didn't do anything since then, but Kingston did. Darby took advantage of it.
Kingston got himself over. Kingston came out and cut, and like, granted, it was a segment with Cody, but Kingston cut an unbelievable promo.
Yeah, but he was given the avenue to do that and do the match. Yeah. And had show his fighting spirit in a match with this perceived fucking star of the promotion. He brought in Eddie Kingston, who was in TNA, who was in Ring of Honor.
Did Cody make the call?
Probably, yeah.
Did he? Yeah, you know
I'd
that.
say
Yeah.
so,
Is that what happened? Yeah.
Then what if it was? If it was, would you give him his props?
But you're making it out like it was.
If it was, would you give him his props?
If Cody personally rang Eddie and said, Eddie, I've seen your work. I've been studying you for a long time. Yeah, I give him props.
Yeah, give him props. Yeah. And then this argument is over.
Yeah, but if he didn't do that, then you're giving him props for. You're claiming that the invitational challenge is shoot, and Cody actually is inviting these people in shoot wise.
Even if he didn't do that, the actual match was structured to get Kingston over.
But I actually looked at that match at the time and thought, this Eddie Kingston doesn't belong on TV.
Yeah, I know. And how great is it that Cody did that? And then, look, I think we're both in agreement on Kingston anyway. If John Martin was here talking about Eddie Kingston, he's a massive Eddie Kingston mark. But he helped.
Yeah, look, we're not here. We're not going to diss Eddie too much. Okay, but so we're not even at the level yet where I'm getting really super annoyed with Cody.
Yeah, right. But there's a point where I'm like, this sucks. And let's say it, Anthony Ogogo.
Yeah, but before that. Okay, so before Anthony Ogogo, he starts to introduce the Nightmare Factory.
That's a lot of bollocks, right?
Yeah.
I will say. Brandy, and she was doing her whole Nightmare Factory stuff. And
The Nightmare, the female division thing, heels.
No, not that. She had Awesome Kong initially.
Oh, yeah.
Then she was with
Abaddon.
Luther. Was it the Nightmare? No, it wasn't Nightmare Factory.
Nightmare Collective.
That fucking sucked ass.
Yeah.
So, and she was a heel, and Cody was a babyface, and you're like, this.
Well, she was a heel because people booed her every time she opened her mouth.
Yeah.
So just to stay, okay, so where we are with Cody now is he's kind of done with this TNT title thing because the fans are beginning to get a bit tired of him. A little bit. Certain fans are. And
where does Brody factor in then? Is Brody after?
Brody's was before this.
He's the TNT champion.
Yeah.
At this stage.
Cody
loses the TNT title to Brody,
yeah,
in like spectacular fashion,
and he disappears for a while.
And then makes his comeback with his black hair. I thought that was badass.
Okay, the black hair. So he disappeared to shoot Arrow, a few episodes of Arrow. Comes back with jet black hair.
Cool. It shows a darker side of him.
Yeah, darker side. Be a darker Cody. No.
Yeah. Well, you say the same about Finn Balor. Like when he becomes the demon, nothing changes.
So Cody is just a regular wrestler he's the only guy who they have this heel entrance and face entrance. Cody has a middle entrance all to himself.
Damn right. Set himself apart.
So we
didn't even get into him smashing the throne and all that. Like,
yeah, which that was after the gold.
That was Goldust match.
Yeah, really subtle from Cody there.
Yeah, I know.
So, oh man, it just annoys me.
The timeline is
we're a bit skewed here. Okay, so I want to get into Nightmare.
He got
Collective.
Brody over anyway.
Yeah, he got Brody over, and I don't have major issues with that.
Brody, Kingston, MJF, Darby.
Yeah, and he fought in Brody's last match.
Scorpio Sky. Did he lose the title to Scorpio?
No, we'll get to the American Top Team stuff after the Nightmare Collective. So the Nightmare Collective.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, the Nightmare. Yes. The Nightmare Collective stuff is annoying because he's trying to now get over. It's like getting over.
You're saying Comarato isn't a fucking superstar.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to get over the WCW power plant, like lads who are not
Lee
ready.
Moriarty, was he one of them?
Nick Comarato, whatever his name is, that. I can't even think of any of their names. Your man.
They all sucked.
Yeah.
Aaron was there.
Aaron is not quite there yet. Your man, obviously, Marshall, QT.
Marshall, I don't like it.
And this leads to a QT Marshall Cody feud. And like,
but Cody's after taking the hits. He needs a bit of fucking tomato cans.
Yeah, but the fans are now so aware of what Cody. Like, this is all stuff that
you're saying they're aware. What are they aware of?
They're aware of Cody now trying to utilize. He's trying to get over his training school. He's trying to get over. He's trying to bring his good pal QT Marshall on. Like QT Marshall is never ever knows he's just a wrestling trainer and a backstage producer.
He's just been signed again by AEW.
Yeah, I don't get it. As long as he's signed backstage, I get it. And like, I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler, but he's not going to get over at this point in his career. So Cody goes through that, and it leads to the Anthony Ogogo feud.
Yeah, now that is where I was like, And like, Cody coming out talking about ending racism.
This is it.
With his interracial relationship.
The very first Cody is in the very first interracial relationship.
I can get the sentiment behind it somewhat.
How?
I don't know.
I want to hear it. So this comes at a time where... I get
what he was trying to go for. He was trying to talk about... Like, there were the racial tensions in America at the time.
Yeah.
It was off. Like, the promo was off, but racial tensions in America were quite high at the time. Cody was trying to maybe bleed some of that into his promo, and it didn't work. It just didn't work. This during the pandemic as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
So there's no...
No, it's pre-pandemic.
Was this pre-pandemic? Yeah. It just did not work.
So this is an example of Cody not being self-aware.
Yeah.
And I
Everyone
think that
has enough promo.
No, he struggles with not being self-aware a lot. And I think this is a really key moment in that. So yeah, he's delivering these all-American speeches, trying to be the baby face. Obviously, like you said, civil rights stuff going on in America, which is already going to split the audience.
And the all-American kind of character is somewhat blasé.
Well, at this time, it would be more of a heelish thing to be than to be anyway nationalistic.
I always find
America.
it mad, like that he's in WWE now, and you see Australia, and you see them doing they have Backlash coming up in France and Puerto Rico and stuff, and he comes out with the American flag, and he's the American Nightmare, and he still gets fucking so cheered.
Yeah,
I think that's mad. I know that's kind of going, but like.
Yeah. So like,
Cody Rhodes has made America great again. I'll say that again. Cody Rhodes has made America great again.
but so I just think he didn't have his finger on the pulse here, and so to set it up, Anthony Ogogo is this British black boxer who is coming in across from the UK, and he's
in the Nightmare Factory.
Cody's right. Cody's part of this storyline, I'm sure, in terms of the creative process, and it's decided Anthony Ogogo's disdain for Cody is that he's American, and the only good thing about America is it's good for making money. And I was like, well, that's kind of like what Cody's about anyway, so that doesn't really make too much sense. So
have you given Cody props up to this point at all?
Yeah, I've given him props right up until the last year of his career in where we are right now.
But you've kind of shit over anything that I've said, like getting over Kingston, getting over MJF. Like these things cannot be understated. MJF was the world champion.
Why are you going back to this?
Well, MJF was the world champion.
No, sorry. You're now. We're about to talk about a pivotal moment.
I don't think you've given him props. Like, just right. We're getting to a moment that is quite contentious. Maybe even not even contentious. It was downright shit, right? But like beforehand.
And it stood out because AEW, and we spoke about this before off air, that I have no problem with the sports entertainment element of what Cody, in terms of what Cody brought to AEW. I enjoyed some of the deep storyline stuff he was doing, very kind of WWE-esque, with a bit of extra risk involved because it's AEW rather than what WWE were doing at the time. So I didn't mind that, but this was jarring in how different it was to everything else on the product, and it became kind of like there's Cody's part of AEW and then there's everything else. So it's like we'll do AEW and then here's the 20 minutes allotted
to Codyverse, people call it. To
Codyverse. Yeah, exactly. Plus, he was now wearing his fucking Homelander shit, which like at the same time when the boys was becoming super hot in terms of fan power and everyone interested.
He looked like Homelander.
He brought back the colour on his hair. And he stuck a fucking tattoo of his logo on his neck.
I remember seeing that. I was like, oh no, Cody, no. Why? It looks so stupid. I get that, right? So everything he kind of was portraying himself a bit heelish, and that comes to the self-aware stuff. But we don't know. We spoke about this on the last podcast, and when we were talking about the fucking road to WrestleMania, and we were talking about how silly it seemed that Cody would just give up his Royal Rumble spot. I was like, we don't know what the story is going to either initially be planned as.
Well, we do here because there's another 2 years of story that actually plays out.
At the time, we don't know if the plans are before, because he leaves. We don't know if the plans are to fucking turn him into this fucking Homelander.
Yeah, but he's not going to leave for another year here. So like we're only at.
But he kind of fucks off and comes back though.
Well, we're at Nightmare Collective. We still have to get into American Top Team.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, so this is when
I remember it being bad.
It was bad, and a lot of it was Brandy making it really bad, because there was that iconic promo where Dan Lambert, who is like basically talking like Jim Cornette, who a lot of the AEW fans don't like. So like the whole point was him kind of like indie-rific kind of bullshit wrestling to get booze. Brandy comes out and she can't open her mouth in a promo against Dan Lambert. So Dan Lambert's getting cheered, and Brandy is and Brandy's getting booed. But then Cody, in what he likes to do, he doubled down on this and started getting kind of a little bit snarky with the fans.
Yeah.
And it leads to this moment where he takes off, and he used to take off the fucking belt as well, or he'd throw it into the crowd. And eventually it led to that beautiful moment where they threw it back at him.
Yeah.
And I thought, brilliant. Cody, now is the time.
Is that Cena levels?
This is it. You are at peak. You can now do what Cena never did. You can do what Hogan eventually did and got an absolute rebirth in his career. You can turn heel and play into it. All the bullshit that you've been doing that you weren't self-aware about, how you're actually kind of a heel and you're Homelander, all that stuff, you can pretend that was all part of it. You can pretend you're smart, Cody.
You can get back into the title picture.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. This is the moment.
So how long from that is when he leaves?
Like 3 months or something, is it?
Yeah. So do you think something happened around that time that then he was like, you know what?
Well,
I'm leaving.
He had all the stuff going on outside of wrestling as well. He had the
game show.
The game show. He had the Brandy and Cody thing that they were doing.
Gloria or something.
And like you can pretend that he can't turn heel because
this is what I said to you.
Yeah, I
think when we went to.
You can pretend if we're in the 1980s and 90s.
Second one.
If you can you can pretend that you can't play a heel on TV and then play.
But sure, that's why Cena didn't do it because of Make-A-Wish and stuff. He didn't turn heel because of his, not obligations, but because of his want to do Make-A-Wish stuff and not to. I'm not saying Cody is at that level, but because he has outside interests, that would affect his merchandise sales quite possibly.
Cena did want to turn heel at one point, and he was told he couldn't turn heel.
Yeah, because of his obligations.
Yeah, but that's the company.
But I think I think maybe the initial story was Cody was going to set up to turn heel. I fully believe that because he's lean. You're saying he's not self-aware. He was 100%. You're talking about he's coming out with a fucking big Homelander jacket. He's starting to lean
long before he even leaned into it.
But I think he starts to lean into it because he's self-aware.
So there's a couple of things. So Cody's entrance now is, so he's the super face. He's a real sympathetic character because he can't fight for the world title anymore.
He ended racism.
He ended racism by marrying a black woman for the first time in American history. And he's now walking, he's going to come out, there's the heel entrance, there's the face entrance. Cody comes out the middle, he rises up from the top.
He's a tweener.
He's got 100 times more pyro than anybody else. And he comes out with
scares the shit out of his dog every time he does.
He comes out with 30 people around him, walks out the ring, and he's going to fight some poor heel here in the middle who's got no money, who's not on the executive committee, he's got no one around him, he's got no manager. And this would happen all the time. And you're telling me that at that stage, Cody was already aware he's going to turn into a heel?
No, I'm saying towards the end.
Yeah, so
I don't think the presentation of Cody initially was excellent.
The presentation, no, I think they linked.
When you see Kenny Omega coming out with girls with sweeping brushes behind him, doing this because he's the cleaner, are you like, class, that's cool?
I kind of like that.
No, stupid.
I thought it was kind of, I thought it kind of was a homage to his Japanese side of it. I didn't think it was too bad.
Stupid. Cody had a proper superstar presentation.
Yeah, but only because Cody could. It's like saying, but it's like...
What was he meant to do?
It's like saying, like a billionaire comes in and buys up and he's all the money to do all this stuff and all the power to do it, and therefore his presentation is better than everybody. How is that not a heel thing?
Cody used to be Stardust. He used to be fucking dashing.
In the billion-dollar company.
Yeah, and then he goes away. He helps set up a promotion, gives viable alternatives to fans and wrestlers alike, and then knows how to... from being in WWE for so long, knows how to present himself to help himself become a star and to get others over. That's what he ultimately did. When fans started turning on him, he started leaning into it, and then before we got maybe the crescendo of that whole storyline, he goes.
So we don't know why he left. We only know that he...
No, you have fucking some thoughts. You think it's because Brandy is not on TV, which I think is bullshit because Brandy was not part of the WWE deal.
No.
So if he had such a problem with it, he should have...
No, we don't know. The answer is we don't know. I mean, you can speculate. I would say that's an option. There's the option of what we spoke about yesterday, that his vision of AEW...
what wrestling is.
Yeah.
And maybe losing a bit of control.
There's an option that Tony said, Cody needs to turn heel here. And Cody said no.
I'd say Cody was going to.
Yeah, but he comes out and he literally says, I'm never turning heel.
Which is a heel thing to say.
Exactly. It's a heel thing to say, but he actually meant it.
But look at Bo Dallas, right?
He makes bad decisions.
Look at Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Was he not already a heel?
Bo Dallas.
Look at Bo Dallas, right? When Bo Dallas came out and he had that ambivalent character in NXT, right? And he was like, everything is great and all this, and he's thumbs up, and everyone's booing the fuck out of him. He was a heel, but presenting as a babyface. So was Cody not a heel presenting as a babyface?
That's not what Cody was doing.
No.
No.
Just because he wasn't acting like he's the anti. Look at fucking WWE or look at anything now in wrestling. Heels are cheered. Heels are fucking like, yay, they're cool. Fucking Rhea Ripley is a badass. She's a heel and everyone loves her. Cody was a genuine heel that people fucking hated while presenting himself as this good meat babyface and going, I'm never going to turn into a bad guy. I'm never going to cheat.
He wasn't. I refuse to give him that amount of credit that he was actually thinking that far ahead.
You refuse to give credit to a man who set up a company that you passionately love.
My biggest, ultimately what happens with Cody is he betrays AEW.
Are you just going to skip over the hypothesis that I just said?
No, it's
is it a viable thing that Cody was, while presenting as a babyface with his Homelander gear.
No, after you weren't listening, I absolutely said that he is not self-aware or smart enough to.
Yeah, and then I put it to you going, this man that helped create this company.
Yeah.
You're saying he's not smart enough, who has grown up in the industry, learned from Dusty Rhodes and from Goldust that he's not smart enough and been on the roster when Cena was there.
I think anyone who gets a neck tattoo like he did, it means he makes bad decisions all the time.
Bad decisions all the time.
Putting Brandy on TV, the neck tattoo, the entrance,
scaring his dog pissed me off.
Bringing Aaron Anderson back, the Nightmare Factory Collective, whatever you want to call
Aaron
it.
Anderson and his Glock.
Never going for the world title anymore. It was just weird, bad. The Paul White segment with the boxing thing that Cody's was all over.
Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill.
Yeah, Cody himself says
he brought in Jade.
The Shaquille O'Neal thing. Where did that go? Shaquille ended up in an ambulance. Why did the match even happen in the first place?
I blame Tony Khan.
Brandy it was meant to be Brandy, and then she pulled out, and it was Black Velvet. Or Red Velvet, sorry. But like, what's the point of that match?
I don't know. It was cool at the time. It was Shaquille O'Neal was coming into wrestling, first wrestling match. WWE failed to capitalize on it. Boom. Here he is.
He's a man who makes bad decisions
and makes good decisions.
Well,
makes good decisions. He's a man.
So
he is a person.
He is a man. We'll agree he's a man.
He's a person.
He's a man
who has good decisions and bad decisions. We've all made them, right?
So
he's doing it on a national, not as massively national as say other promotions. He's doing it on a national scale. I think he was self-aware enough to be able to go, I'm getting booed here. Okay, what am I doing that's making people boo? Maybe I'll just double down on that.
No. He kept trying, because he did the opposite. He kept trying to find ways to get himself over. Like the whole thing of him
going through fire with Andrade.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, exactly. Like he kept trying to find why, if you're doing the heel thing, what you're saying is true, why is he doing the fire thing with Andrade?
I just
why?
Just having a good match, I suppose. Getting Andrade over.
So can we get to the leaving?
Okay, so he has that banger match with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, that's his last match. Yeah,
last match.
Yeah. Did he fight like a heel in that match?
No, because he knew he was going.
Well, did he know he's going?
Yeah,
we don't know that. We don't know.
He knew he was going.
We don't really know.
No, he took the cutter. Was it the cutter off the ladder?
So he knew he's going. So you've actually no evidence that he was trying to.
But either do you.
I have all the evidence in the world. Even you just came up with another one, the Andrade, the fire table spot thing. Why is he doing that if he's trying to be a heel?
Because people want to see him be put through fire.
No,
that's why you want to see a heel be beat up. And fucking AEW did that terribly as well. You could tell that anti-flame
was all over his back.
Oh, God.
So we get to the point where Cody and Tony Khan have a backstage meeting. We don't know what went on in that meeting, but Cody writes.
Yeah, let's know, Tony.
Writes a big letter to the fans and says that he's leaving or whatever. I think my biggest problem with this is that Cody. Okay, well, you can look at it. I can be very cynical, or I can be fair to Cody, and I'll be fair because I know you'll just call me cynical. But you could argue that Cody, AEW could have happened anyway without Cody. But let's say it couldn't. Let's say Cody was. Well, he tagged himself onto BT and the Elite, and
made them relevant. Yeah,
they were already pretty relevant. I don't think their view numbers went up in any major way when Cody.
No, but they just got a national promotion out of it.
Yeah, so they got one way or another. We can agree they got a national promotion, and. That was Cody's leaving WWE was because WWE was not a great place to be.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get over there. And that they're technically not given the Rhodes, we're talking about the Rhodes family legacy. They once again didn't give the Rhodes family the respect that they deserve by not pushing Cody any higher. So they set up an alternative promotion, and you could say that there's similarities in the early 90s and what went on with Dusty and moving on and not getting over in WWE or WF at the time. And the company builds and builds and builds. And they're actually, when Cody's even, all the shit is going on with Cody and the stuff that's kind of annoying me about him, the company is it's white hot, like it's super duper over. And we have a chance here to continue this, an alternative, keep building it and creating something like you talked about all the alternatives you spoke about earlier, and keep creating and giving other wrestlers opportunities, continuing what had been happening where signings were coming in, everyone gets more money because of this. So it's all good for wrestling, maybe not for the indie scene, but it's all good for wrestling. And then he makes a selfish decision.
I don't think it's selfish.
He makes a selfish decision because he obviously had a conversation. He was told, Cody, we're going to give you the world title. You're going to get it.
Right.
And
I have a counter to this.
Yeah. But just before you get there, and what occurred then is Cody went, and I think it's selfish, but I think it's a good decision for him because of hindsight, what happened and how he's been booked and portrayed in WWE. So I think ultimately is a good decision for him, but it's so selfish for the company, for his colleagues. I really care about his colleagues.
For his colleagues.
For his colleagues, yeah.
This is my point that I'm countering with.
Okay, but okay, go on.
He created an alternative for people to go to from WWE to AEW. Mm-hmm. That alternative didn't seem possible from AEW to WWE because people would be worried about how they would be treated in WWE. They took a star from AEW, brought him to WWE, made him a fucking bigger star. So if you're in AEW, either previous WWE or a new up-and-comer, you were always probably listening to the likes of FTR, Miro, Andrade, Cody, going, I was there, it sucked.
Andrade and Miro just want to get back there.
Yeah, I know, right? But Cody has gone back there, been treated like a fucking megastar, and now, likes of Ricky Starks or anybody on that roster can look at that and go, oh, they're not just going to...
That's not going to continue to happen.
They're not going to... They're different... Wait now, different promotion. Different promotion than what was happening, or what actually Cody entered into. It's a different promotion now. So, you see the likes of CM Punk going back, different story, I agree. Jay Cargill, Andrade, and Brian Pillman Jr.
So Andrade is an interesting point. So and Brian Pillman Jr.
Nathan Frazier, he was in AEW for a while.
No, okay, so I take your point, but WWE are so big that they're only going to handpick the very best, and they're not going to be waiting and looking to see.
Brian Pillman Jr.
There's no one there that's going to be disgruntled, and if they're not really getting over in AEW, that they're going to come along and take them over to WWE. Jay Cargill is a star.
Ricky
She's got
Starks?
crossover.
Ricky Starks?
I think he could be a star with WWE. So they're going to handpick these guys to the detriment of AEW. So I think it's
not necessarily to the detriment, because you're going to start getting these crossover stars.
But Andrade is actually the interesting one, because I think he's going to drop back quite quickly in WWE, and he's going.
I think I agree,
and I think he's going to be the example that actually is going to counter what you're saying, in that people will go, okay, maybe it's not always.
Cody, but also Jade. People have worked in AEW with Andrade, so they might be like, he's had a fight with Sammy Guevara, and like, he might be a bit of a dick, if you think about it. So.
But I don't think you can say Cody created that crossover.
Like, I think if Malachi Black goes back to WWE, he's treated better. I think if even someone like Big Bill goes back to WWE, he's probably going to be treated better
for 2 months.
I don't believe that, because WWE now are making consistent booking decisions with the wrestlers under the tutelage of Triple H. So I think Cody, as you're saying, is selfish. I think he's a martyr.
I think Cody
martyred himself.
I think Cody thinks he's a martyr.
He did.
Yeah.
Because
he's not self-aware.
I think AEW obviously as well needs progression, and by getting these, he's creating space once again for that fucking stacked roster, which is too much of it to the detriment of AEW. But people saying it's selfish, and I've had friends on the outside who have explained, like, I've maybe watched, they used to call over to my house and watch matches or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, wasn't he in the other company we were watching? And they'd be like, oh, that's kind of a shitty thing to do. And I can understand that point of view. You're leaving the company that you helped set up to go join the big bad company or whatever.
For money. And power and wealth.
Who the fuck says if it's money? If it is money, though, it's a business. You're leaving one company for another company. Yeah, it wasn't working out with one company. It wasn't working out. There's probably a creative difference between himself, and there were all these rumors that he was losing his EVP power, which would have been a big
bonus.
But would have been a big carrot for. Oh, I'm going to start this promotion. I'm going to help.
No, but he claims when he joined WWE, he said, I wasn't ready for that kind of that EVP position. That side of the power was not suitable for him.
Yeah.
So him to lose it would be a positive thing.
But losing the booking stuff, I think he wanted that, but he didn't want the
But the
all
fans,
added stuff.
I think the fans knew he lost that EVP status, that they would get behind him a lot more.
Yeah,
but
maybe,
he also needs
possibly. But he lost that. He went to WWE, and his debut was fucking amazing against Rollins.
God, I couldn't stomach it.
Yeah, that's because you were so much like, oh fuck this guy.
No. I was really betrayed. I felt betrayed.
But you didn't want him in fucking AEW. You wanted him as a heel. You didn't want him the way he was.
No.
You didn't know what you had.
No,
You're the best fucking babyface in the business, and I realised he was the best babyface in the business.
Differently. He's
going
not
back to that MJF fucking feud. I was like, this guy is the best babyface in the business, and he proceeded to be with a few fucking road bumps along the way.
But so what has he done? What has he done in WWE?
He had the amazing moment of WrestleMania 38. He had,
What was so amazing with it?
Just
the entrance,
the anticipation,
the
arrival. You can see even
the way WWE just stole the AEW presentation.
Yeah, well, like Cody, is that not Cody's presentation?
I don't know. Just wondering.
But you didn't like that.
No, well, I felt.
But you said that. Oh, Cody's presentation. Oh, look, it's so bad. Look what he's doing. And then he stole in WWE.
No, he didn't have the.
It was his own presentation, all right. He can't have it both ways, Dunph.
Well, he didn't have the. It was a lesser version. It was a more face version than his presentation in AEW.
What?
But he didn't come up through a fucking tunnel thing.
He did.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh. I've blacked it out in my mind.
I win.
I've blacked it out.
This has been a wrestling show.
So then he went on to feud with Rollins in the Cell
He had 3 matches with Rollins. Won all 3.
He won all 3. Oh wow, poor Cody.
Yeah,
putting lads over.
No, well, it was his time to get over now because he was treated so badly in the other company, and did that. He martyred himself again just for the biz. You have a problem with his pec thing.
Yeah, I think
that was bad. When he took off his jacket, I was like, "What the fuck just happened here?"
I mean, we don't know. I mean, the cynic in me thinks he took some painkillers, injected himself, didn't feel any pain for the entire match, and looked like someone who should be in hospital.
He's injected himself. That's how much you hate him. He took painkillers, injected him.
Well, I'm sure he was on some kind of painkillers.
He had a banger Hell in a Cell match as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Just felt
that story with Rollins coming out in the polka dots and oh man, it was so good.
No,
got injured.
Didn't enjoy it.
He was gone for fucking months. Now,
gone till Rumble, wasn't it?
Yes, but he was like the way he was presented. Fans were so behind him without changing much of his character. Fans were so behind him. He was talking about...
Yeah, but see, the WWE fans are behind him because he...
was AEW.
Yeah. So, like, you can't say it's not exactly... It's not the same ecosystem. So, like, you will already get... And I'm not saying all WWE fans like this, but you get a certain level of WWE fan who will only cheer him because it's also, when you cheer him, you're kind of taking a little dig at AEW fans. I'm not saying that that's everyone, but that definitely helped his massive pop at WrestleMania and his early run against Rollins.
Does that not go vice versa?
Like if you're cheering Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson when he came over to...
Yeah. Maybe not Danielson because he didn't do it in such a negative...
there's absolute scumbag AEW fans as well. You see them online. I'm not saying that they don't exist, but I don't think Danielson would be one. I think people would kind of be just happy for Danielson one way or another.
Yeah, but I'm like any other wrestler.
Give me another example. Give me a wrestler.
Miro when he first came. That sucked. That best friends with.
Yeah, didn't...
FTR.
FTR.
When they came, you were like, oh, they were going to be treated like shit in WWE. Yeah, fuck you, WWE.
Yeah, but there's a difference between... Sorry, there's a difference. So FTR are being told, here, you got to wear these cartoon outfits in WWE if you want to stay relevant, or if you want to be on the main roster. Cody is an EVP booking himself to be the hero who should be the heel. Like, they're not... You can't use them as examples.
I just did.
If it doesn't make sense.
But is there not a sentiment of just being like, oh, fuck you to WWE because FTR are going up against the Young Bucks?
I'm sure there was an element of happy that FTR escaped the WWE side of things. But I don't think Cody was an escape. I think it was a betrayal, like I said.
It wasn't a betrayal. Maybe he was betrayed.
Like, you can't say AEW or Revival.
What happened to AEW after Cody left?
It started to stink up a little bit.
Oh, wonder why. What's the correlating factor?
Fans were...
What's the correlating factor? Cody Rhodes getting sick and tired of all this bullshit.
They had a lot of bad luck. They had a lot of bad luck. So Punk was brought in, and Punk
had all that
no, because they were still red hot, and then Punk and Hangman was happening, and then Punk got injured.
All that infighting,
and then that weird summer thing, and then the infighting.
The infighting was happening before that, wasn't it? Because Hangman was saying shit about before the Punk match and stuff. So the infighting starts happening. Yeah, that was probably going on for a long time. If you think about it, it takes a while for a toxic culture to be created. And Cody was probably just sick of that bullshit, and that's what everyone said about
his mates are causing the bullshit.
And wasn't it that he was distancing himself from those?
He distanced himself on a storyline perspective. I don't know.
No, but in general, like there was back. Not that we know from the office here in
I wasn't
Kenny,
there.
but
were you there? I wasn't there.
I was on Zoom calls with Tony.
You know, look, the Young Bucks, the whole elite. I got pissed off with all those people.
I got pissed off with them at OTT because they had a fucking a 6-man thing. It was the Young Bucks and Kenny against Leo Rush, Ryan Smile, and Will Ospreay.
Yeah,
and they
meant to be Ricochet.
Yeah, and they treated it like a joke.
They did treat it like a joke,
and you can see it on BTE where they were bringing, and you were just like, "Oh fuck yeah!" I never seen the.
They're on the microphones for half the match.
Sucked. I never seen the one with Cody. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go. But getting back into it then. So
Cody we're at his WWE career now. He's coming back at Rumble.
Yeah, but like that run with Rollins, like. Fans, so you have the initial like, yeah, fucking, here's someone new. It's about sustaining that. And how do they sustain it? Because it could have very easily gone awry at that Royal Rumble.
They should have put him on a Cody Express and have him tour America.
And you're a Lex Luger fan of all fucking things.
Of the 90s, a different time.
Fucking mark.
I'm a hindsight Lex Luger fan.
Right? So they, great
to see Lex at Revolution, by the way.
Very delicate what they did at the Royal Rumble. Because Gunther fucking dominated, went so far. Cody just came back from injury, came in fucking number 30 or 27, one of them. Came in very late and won the Rumble. But fans were behind Gunther. And I was like, I really like Cody, but I kind of want Gunther to win.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a very delicate ecosystem when you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it could have turned against Cody in the run to WrestleMania, but because they had such a strong heel with Roman, and because Cody is such a good babyface, and he brings in the tradition that I was talking about.
Yeah, but you could have.
He brings in the history of the Rhodes family.
But you had Sammy. You had Sammy. If you wanted just a face, you had Sammy there to do that run with Roman.
Yeah, and but this is what I'm saying. This is what Cody was contesting with. He was contesting with the Royal Rumble booking of people wanting Gunther. He was contesting with people actually wanting Sammy to beat Roman. And
so it's not about Cody being a great babyface. It's that there's such a great heel there that anyone could do it.
No, not at all. Because Sammy could have done it, but Sammy didn't do it. So Cody was being weaved into these stories. He's weaved into the Sammy thing, and I think that he managed that excellently with his promos. He was talking about, I think he was like, I might see you at WrestleMania, but it was all, Cody was on his track to finish his story and to embed that within the narrative of what was going on in WWE at the time is such a tricky thing to do. That Cody could come across as smarmy, which he has done before, could come across as the kind of heel-leaning thing. But because he's such a good natural babyface and people respect the tradition of him, whereas with John Cena and when Roman Reigns was getting booed, because they were being pushed as these super fucking supermen, Cody was getting a Superman push. Fans could have turned, but they didn't because he is so good.
How many matches has Cody lost since he's come to?
Two.
So he's on a bit of a Superman push.
Yeah. So like he's fans can easily, and it might happen after WrestleMania. Fans can easily just go, oh fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Happened with Cena when he was going up again. Angle came out and said some outlandish shit. People still cheered him because they hated Cena. Roman Reigns, people booed the fuck out of him winning the Royal Rumble, which could have happened to Cody, but it didn't because he weaves in. He seems to have a respect for pro wrestling. He weaves in fucking his family history and his family ties going back to 1983. Superstar Billy Graham, Dusty Rhodes talks about the story, how he has to finish it. People are knows this guy fucking loves it. He hasn't been told to say suffer and succotash or you can't sing. That's not entitled.
It is entitled. If just because your family had a legacy doesn't entitle you to get a world title shot.
But he is consumed by this drive to do it. It doesn't mean entitled.
He's not consumed. He's not. No, sorry. He is not consumed to do it because he's happy.
We'll get into the Royal Rumble. We'll get into the Royal.
He's happy to give up his title shot.
We have another year. We have another year to go, right? So he gets to WrestleMania, right? I was super pissed off he lost. I was like, fuck this. This was his time. WWE, fucking Vince McMahon, a piece. It mightn't have even been Vince, but I was like, how the fuck are they going to come back from this? This was the time to create a new star. And then here we are a year later and it's worked.
It hasn't worked.
It has.
It almost worked.
Who did he feud with, right? He had a feud with Brock
Lesnar. It hasn't worked. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not interested in the Bloodline Rock Cody. In fact, I think that's an unbelievable storyline. But I think Cody is only a part player in that, while he would have been the man last year.
Right. He has his feud with Brock. Some okay matches. Has his hand sore. All that. Uses the thing.
Yeah, and I like the idea that you have to beat Brock. Like, that's a thing you have to do.
Ends up beating Brock.
Yeah,
numerous times. Has a little feud with Dominic. That was fun. I thought.
It was alright,
yeah. Then, he's building up. CM Punk comes in. Now he's going to have to contend with CM Punk coming in. Some cool fucking promos between Cody and Punk. And
I enjoyed those as well. I enjoyed those mostly because I was like a middle finger to the Young Bucks. And Cody's showing how to be professional. I mean, I respect Cody for that. He's showing how to be professional. It's about the business, and that's a problem.
But that feeds into people's perception of him when they're cheering him.
That would be a reason I would cheer him.
So he has this great year where, like, you could be. It's so easy to be like,
no, but I am beyond.
This is the guy that they want over. Boo! So it's so easy. Yeah. And then he could turn heel, and then he could be the cool heel, and he'll start getting cheered again. No, he's being a babyface, espousing traditional babyface values in wrestling, and getting over.
I don't have much of a problem anymore.
I would argue.
This.
Shut up, Dunphy.
No, I don't have much of a problem with this because we've got, like, my Cody is, if you're looking at graphs like this, it's going up, 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 and then it's massive dip in AEW, and he's kind of, I suppose, somewhere maybe 3/4 way back up again now.
I would argue that Cody Rhodes is the best babyface in professional wrestling.
Here we go.
I can't even think of a better one in recent times. Even better than Daniel Bryan and his run to WrestleMania 30, because Cody's was purposely booked. Daniel Bryan had
a movement.
Yeah, but it was a groundswell of fan support. But no, I'm not saying
groundswell.
Yeah, but
that's a big thing.
A purposeful babyface. Whereas the story was, we need to get this babyface over. Here's the booking plans. He did all those little beats to a T. Whereas Daniel Bryan's was.
Brian Danielson.
Timmy's story was completely separate, and the fans took him on that journey.
Yeah.
So therefore, it was the other
fan favorite.
Yeah, right. But he's great
versus the behemoth of WWE pushing you as the face versus a groundswell fan favorite.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, what other babyface did WWE actively try that was successful in their push, that fans didn't turn on him? Because they didn't try and push Daniel Bryan.
No, they did the opposite.
They did the opposite, right? Yeah. So Daniel Bryan's a great babyface, and he got over despite WWE's efforts. But what wrestler was able to take what WWE had and push themselves without turning heel, without fucking taking away anything else, staying true on course as being a babyface and hitting every fucking beat along the way, lose the big one even, and then continue? When was the last babyface that was able to do that?
I don't know. It's hard to, because I'm trying to think of when were they signing people from other companies before, because if you can sign someone who's kind of tailor-made like that, I don't know, you could go back to the 90s maybe. Yeah.
Let's let that silence sit for.
Well, you asked me a question that's like you already knew the answer to.
And that's what, but I knew the ansser because I knew this was going to be a debate. I said at the start of this podcast.
That doesn't
Cody Rhodes is the best natural babyface in the business because he was given a storyline to be a babyface and he got over and is still over as a babyface.
Yeah, but you're blindsiding me. You're creating that. How's
that blindsiding?
That's the topic of the show.
The topic of the show.
I thought we're coming in to converse about Cody's career.
Yeah, but it was going to be a debate, we said.
Okay. Okay.
You're flustered now.
Who is a bigger self-entitled
Is this debate for the next episode?
No. I'm just going to come up with a question that you'll have to come up with an answer to.
But how was my argument at the start was Cody Rhodes is the best natural babyface in the business, right? And has been for...
That's different than what you're saying. You're saying best natural babyface. I don't think he is. The best natural babyface versus the first person that WWE have tried to push in recent years that actually succeeded. Those are two different things.
But your job as a babyface...
Cody's not a natural babyface. I look at him and I feel like he's a heel.
Your job in the business is to do what the storyline sets out for you as a babyface. So that's what I'm saying. He's able to do...
Well, that's interesting as well, because you're saying Cody is doing what he's being told to do, but at the same time, you're also saying Cody is so great in his promos. He brings back up all the roads, so like he makes this stuff up on the spot.
No, I'm not saying he's making this stuff. I'm saying this is his storyline, and this is how he's getting it over. Whereas other wrestlers have been given storylines, have been unable to get it over to the degree of that you have your next fucking babyface star. Daniel Bryan became a star because of the groundswell of support. But wasn't the storyline.
You could probably go back to Hogan, because you're talking about, it's not just Cody, it's who is
Goldberg in WCW. There's a big babyface.
Yeah, but in WWE. But
DDP in WCW.
No, but it's all about who is, so the point is he's got this heel that he's playing against. So it's not just about who WWE are pushing. You need a super duper heel to battle against for any babyface to succeed if the company is pushing you. You need that. So it could go back to Hogan.
We always talk about
Brett. You could back when it was good versus evil.
Yeah, we talk about. So that's what I'm saying. Cody is bringing back the tradition of it. If you have a Batman and Robin movie and you're going up against the Joker and the Robin becomes the bigger hero than Batman, that's a fucking problem. Whereas if Batman is the big hero and is played by a good fucking actor and has a strong actor who's able to...
Batman's just trying to get Robin over.
Yeah, but that will naturally happen when Batman becomes the hero. If Batman is outshined by Robin in a Batman movie, that's a fucking problem. What if
Batman has an invitational and he brings all his lads in and he's trying to get them over?
That's a problem.
Well, you said that was a big...
So Batman has an invitational and then he goes up against Bane and he gets Bane over. Then he goes up against Penguin.
I would argue Bane was over before you're right.
Then he gets Two-Face over. But can you see what I'm trying to say here?
Kind of, but it also kind of contradicts what you were saying earlier.
What contradicts it?
Well, you're saying that if Robin gets over, that's a bad thing. But is it not Batman's job to get Batman's job to get Robin over?
It's a bad thing.
Batman's not going to be there forever. He needs someone to take over the legacy.
It's a bad thing for Batman. I'm just saying Cody Rhodes, by getting over...
This is the wrestling fan wrestling.
It's been the I think the best babyface push.
Yeah, I won't argue with that.
That has been purposeful.
If that's what you're looking for in this debate.
If that's what you're in for.
No, if that's what you're looking for in this debate, if that's what you wanted it to be about.
What did you want it to be about?
I just wanted to talk about how much Cody was a dick during his AEW run and how he betrayed AEW.
It's interesting that you want to go back to that after I make my point. I originally said Cody Rhodes is the best babyface in the business.
Yeah, no, but the reason I'm saying that is I don't massively disagree with you anymore about Cody.
I would.
But you have to acknowledge that he betrayed AEW.
I don't think he did.
Wrestling is in a worse place because of what he did.
Wrestling's in a better place.
WWE is in a better place.
Yeah, which is
not wrestling.
Which means it's better for the rest.
Wrestling. The likes of us on the indie scene, we're not getting the bookings we would have got years ago.
So it comes up to the Royal Rumble again.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Is there even any point to talk about since I won? It's coming up to the Royal Rumble again.
Yeah,
you have two AEW stars, CM Punk and...
Yeah, you didn't win anything, by the way.
I've won that argument.
What argument?
Oh, you did not know that we were in a debate. My thing was Cody Rhodes is the best natural babyface in the business.
And I'd say that's not true.
You said you somewhat agreed with me.
No, I agree with you that he is the best. No,
Matthew's our cameraman.
No, I said he's a... Matthew, well, we'll just roll this back.
And editor.
I said I agree with you that he is the first guy to succeed as being pushed. You're not even listening to
I am. I'm just playing up for the camera. Just like this guy.
I'm just rehashing what I said a few minutes ago. I agree with you that he is the first successful babyface being pushed by WWE that has got over as a babyface. Like when you look at the Cena, the Reigns, and all that stuff that happened beforehand. But I don't agree that he's the best natural babyface.
That's what being a babyface
They are two
is.
different things.
That's what being a
They're two different things. Because
he's naturally good at his job.
No, because the first point you need an ultimate heel to be up against. Who was Roman's heel foe when he was trying to get over as a babyface?
The Authority.
Yeah,
The biggest badass faction.
the
in
badass
history.
faction. Like
You had Rollins, you had Randy, you had Jamie Noble, you had Joey Mercury.
it was not the
You
bloodline.
had Corporate Kane.
Like, it wasn't the bloodline.
You had Corporate Kane, man.
It wasn't the bloodline.
So
So no, what I'm saying is they're two different things is what you've said. And I agree with one of them and I disagree with the other.
maybe he is also a product of the circumstance, all right?
Absolutely.
But
not maybe. No. He is a product of the circumstance.
But
No, admit that.
who else would be able? Would have been
Admit
able to
that,
get,
Shane.
I said maybe.
No, see,
who else would he?
At least I'm honest here.
Who else would he have been able to, or would have been able to do his role? I know it's hypothetical, so it's maybe a bit silly, but being able to sustain a babyface push without going over the top and people booing the fuck out of him, which I think will eventually happen.
Probably will.
I think maybe
natural.
after Mania, after 3 or 4 months, I don't think maybe Cody.
And do you know what he'll do then? Do you know what he's going to do?
He'd be the best heel in the business.
He's going to turn heel.
He'll be the best heel in the
He's
business.
going to turn heel, and it will back up everything I've said.
He's the best heel in the business.
That he could,
He'd be
yeah,
the best heel.
but he could have done that for AEW, but he wouldn't.
I don't think. I think the environment of WWE suits him better.
Maybe.
And
Time will tell.
The Royal Rumble, giving up a spot for the Royal Rumble. Obviously, that wasn't the initial plan, but I think I said it in the last one, might get too caught up with all the behind the scenes stuff.
I'd love to know what went on in that conversation between him and Tony, because ultimately AEW is worse without him, and you can blame Cody for that. I obviously blame Cody for a lot of that, but I blame Tony as well. I mean, Tony, I don't think Tony's made some horrific decisions. I think he's booking all over the place, and I think most of AEW's problems would stem from Tony. But Cody, AEW would have been better off if Cody was still there.
Yeah, he would have righted the ship, maybe.
If he turned heel, he would have made it. If he turned heel, he could have made AEW really cool, and for mainstream crossover stuff. Maybe we'll never know.
Is that the end of the podcast? Has he finished the story then?
I don't even know what a story is.
He needs to win the title that his daddy didn't win back in 1983 against Superstar Billy Graham.
Why does he need to win that?
Finish the story.
Because he's self-entitled. Because
Finish the
he
story.
grew up believing that. No, because wrestling is predetermined.
He needs to finish it. Yeah, so is a movie.
Yeah, it's like a billionaire son just walking into some.
So is a movie. Why did fucking Frodo need to fucking get the ring in the fucking fire? It's a story.
Why?
He needs to finish it. Yeah. Because Bilbo fucking Baggins had the
But why
fucking
does Cody
ring,
have a
man.
story? Why does no one else have a story?
Everyone has a story.
But what happens? So when Cody finishes his story,
Cody has
that's
an
it?
interesting
Does he
story.
retire? No, the story continues.
No, he has to then break away from his dad's legacy and form a legacy for himself. So his dog Pharaoh can also become the champion.
He probably has thought about that.
Nah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Is that the end of it then? He finishes the story. Is this the end of this debate?
It'll be interesting. No, yeah, I suppose just to guess about what could happen with where he will go from here. It will be very interesting because it will tell a lot about what could have happened in AEW. If he continues on the face run and the fans turn against him, then that would be funny and interesting about how he deals with that. If he leans into the heel stuff and actually turns full on heel, then it'll be interesting because we'll wonder what could have happened.
Does he ever go back to AEW?
No.
I think so.
I don't see it, no.
2-3 years, comes back a bigger star.
Oh, I'd love it, but no, I think he's now beyond coming back to AEW.
Too big of a star.
Yeah, it's unattainable. Yeah, like Roman, like Cena, like Orton.
I don't think they're unattainable. I think Orton was flirting with them for a while.
Maybe for a while.
Like Edge was unattainable as well, wasn't he?
Edge is not at that level though.
But Cody is.
Cody would be a big step up over Edge at this point.
Finishing it there then. Any last words? Do you concede?
I don't even know what word. I concede what?
we had an argument about.
You had several arguments. You're arguing with yourself most of it. I don't even know what your point was.
My point at this, you can watch it back actually because it's going to be available on YouTube and also available on Spotify. Anywhere you do your podcast listen, you'll notice at the start I said Cody is the best natural babyface in the business.
I disagree.
And you disagreed.
I still disagree with that. You see, still don't listen. I've already told you the separate point that I agree with and what I don't agree with. You're not even listening now.
I am.
There's birds flying around in there.
I actually got in an argument with someone there the other day and they were talking to me and I just kept doing that. And they'd say something and I'd look over at someone else and they got even madder. And they get mad. So now I just do that with the camera. And just,
which camera are you looking at?
This guy. Like I'm in the office.
Oh. All right. Yeah, let's leave it there.
Yeah, I won. Congratulations on trying to go up against.
Thanks for the win.
Go up against me. The mega powers.
Cody betrayed AEW. We all agree.
What was the argument was Cody is the best
wrestling fan wrestling show. Which camera? This
you
one?
don't do the fucking sign off.
This time, yeah.
You're not doing this sign off. This has been the wrestling. No, you can do the sign off.
I don't even know the sign off.
You faced that.
I did a walk off. Good luck.
Yeah, he's doing a walk off because he lost. That's been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below. Let us know what you thought. Did this argument or debate go off the rails, or is Cody the best natural babyface in the business? Did he betray AEW? Lots of interesting topics that have brought. This motherfucker. Like and subscribe really helps the channel. Go look at our archive of videos. A new one released every Sunday. Podcast released every Thursday. We do shorts. We're on Instagram. We're on the TikToks. We're on the Facebooks. We're on the Twitter. Interact with us. Thanks very much.